All right, there's more happening in D.C. this week than a closely watched Federal Reserve meeting. Yahoo Finance contributor Kevin Cirilli is here with a preview. Kevin.
Well, we're getting a lot of inflation data this week, and it also comes as Fed Chairman Jay Powell is anticipated to give his remarks midweek once they finally make their decision for the December rate hike. Now, everyone's expecting that there be a 50 basis points rate hike increase, and really anything beyond that would be beyond expectations. And this, of course, would be after that they've raised the interest rate hikes by 75 basis points. And while this is being seen as a good sign and the fact that potentially inflation has peaked, we should remember that up until this summer, get this, it was 22 years before the Fed had raised interest rates by more than 25 basis points. So it's still a remarkable era that we're in.
Yeah, it definitely is. And let's also, speaking of remarkable eras, let's talk about the next hearing that's expected to look into FTX's collapse. And it sounds like Sam Bankman-Fried will indeed be testifying. So what should we expect from that?
A lot of fireworks, a lot of political theater, and expect, if you're in the market, to try to figure out where Republicans and Democrats differ on the path forward for crypto policy, but also where there is alignment. Divided government, based upon the conversations that I'm having down here in Washington, Julie, indicate that there could be actually a play for bipartisan regulatory reform as it relates to cryptocurrency. And then, yes, SBF is likely going to testify. And yes, all attention will be on the House Financial Services Committee and the Senate Banking Committee midweek. But Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, he is going to face a lot of scrutiny. He was banking that Democrats would all rally behind him. But now even some Democrats are raising questions about whether or not he took his eye off the ball in terms of the regulatory oversight that should have been, they argue, been looking into with FTX. Senator Elizabeth Warren has urged Gary Gensler to, quote unquote, suit up. And that's really exposed some division between progressives and this, in particular, regulator at a time in which Republicans are also waiting to specifically go after him in the new Congress because of the slight gains that they'll have in the House of Representatives. Gary Gensler, I keep saying this, is such a crucial part of the regulatory reform for cryptocurrency in the short term.
And then additionally, Kevin, while we've got you, Washington also going to be keeping an eye on the Fed this week. What is expected there? What particularly are they going to be paying closest attention to within that two-day meeting?
Well, in addition to the Fed, I mean, we can't forget that that they have to pass a government funding bill by December 16th, or the government's going to have a partial shutdown. Now, they could do some last minute kicking the can down the road till December 23rd and then have a longer term extension. But this government funding bill is going to be a big headache for Republicans and Democrats in the lame duck ahead of the holiday recess.
Kevin Cirilli, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Okay,
Before
we head to break, let's shed some light on shares of beverage giant Coca-Cola. Goldman Sachs analyst Bonnie Herzog coming out positive on Coke following a meeting with the CEO and other management in New York City. Herzog says Coke is still seeing strong consumer demand despite challenging economic conditions around the world. Herzog adds she thinks Coke will continue to raise prices in 2023, which will likely help support the company's top and bottom line.